Evidence 3 by Enrique Rivera Lopez. The fall of the socialist bloc. Between 1964 and 1982, the Soviet Union was governed by Leonid Brezhnev, leader that took his country to the cusp of power, having a big economic influence due to the excessive spending on arms and intervention, corruption, and increasingly inefficient and bureaucratic Soviet system. The economy of the Soviet Union was going down. Around the year 1988, a series of strikes and civil movements began to put pressure on the need for political change. The principal promoting organism of these movements will come to be called Solidarity. The fall of the Berlin Wall. Egon Krenz decided against violence and instead ordered a relaxation of travel restrictions to the West in order to try and diffuse rising tensions. A Politburo member named Schabowski briefed the media on November 9, 1989. On the swiftly written decree, he misinterpreted what it said, announcing that East Germans could freely use all border crossings to permanently exit the nation. The falling of the Berlin Wall symbolized the end of the Cold War and the end of the Iron Curtain's dominance. This was important to the Cold War because it signaled the end. After this, the Soviet Union collapsed and the US could finally exist in peace without fear. Now we go on with bipolarism to a unipolar world. As you know, with the fall of the Soviet Union and the absolute end of the Cold War, the disintegration of the communist bloc put an end to bipolarism. This led to a new unipolar world where USA stands as the country with the strongest economic and military capacity in the world. Unipolar doesn't mean that the new superpower has absolute power over the entire world, but yes, that is considered as a major player in the international affairs. After all these changes, the world started having a global transformation, which started with transnationalism, which was the first step after globalization. But what is globalization? Well, globalization is the word used to describe the growing interdependence of the world's economies, cultures, populations, brought about cross-border trade in goods, services, technology, and flows of investment, people, and information. The Persian Gulf War. These were a series of attacks that started when Saddam Hussein, president and dictator of Iraq, decided to invade its neighbor Kuwait. On October 2nd, 1990, Iraqi troops crossed the border and rapidly seized control of the small country, occupying its principal military installations and government offices. After a couple of attacks more, the NATO approved a military operation that consists of 34 countries led by the United States of America. It was on February 28, 1999, when Iraq finally recognized defeat, leaving Kuwait free on its invader. This conflict is an example of terrorism, which is defined as the unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government or its citizens to further certain political or social objectives. Digital revolution. Since the invention of the telephone, the computer, the TV, and the internet, the world have changed a lot, to the point we now depend on technologies to make our ordinary activities. The continual development of the internet has also marked a profound change in education, on labor, and personal level, becoming a monumental platform for converging information of any type. We can say we have changed to a digital era, which means or is defined as a historical period characterized by the existence of digital technology. Okay, now we're going to answer some questions. First one, why did the globalization emerge? Okay, for this question, there were a multiple of factors. Transportation was improving, new technologies, internet, mobility for job opportunities, growth of global trading blocks. All of these factors started appearing, and the new world was able to have connections. different products, new ideas, and communication among countries. In most cases, what caused the terrorist attacks of the 20th century? Okay, after an investigation through ANOVA testing, it was found that social inequality, democratization, respect for human rights, and school enrollment were all significant, and in some cases, religion was involved in these conflicts. How does the end of the Cold War relate with the unipolar world? During the Cold War, there were two world powers which had contrary ideologies. This made the world divide into two poles. The end of the Cold War put an end to bipolarism and left a great void in the power that began to be filled with the United States, country with great power and no oppositions. This make the transformation to a unipolar world. How has the digital era influenced today's society? We depend on technology in our daily routines. All the manual procedures have changed to a mechanical and for a mass production. We are a society that is used to have everything in the instant due to the internet facilities. Here are some of my references.